Hello class, welcome back. It's great to see you. This unit series is called Types of Sentences. There are 7 lessons in this unit. These 7 lessons, we will be studying the 4 types of sentences: simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Before I begin the lesson on these sentence types, I want to make sure that you have opened or printed the guided notes page that goes with this lesson. This will help you follow along in the video and keep your brain active. You can find this handy document either on my live worksheet page, in a link in the description below, or if you're in my TS99 class, I attached it to an email that I sent with this week's work. If you look at your screen now, you will see what these guided note pages look like. There's a different note page for each of the 7 lessons. Make sure you look at the title at the top of each of the note pages and make sure it matches the title of the video. Let's go ahead and begin talking about the sentence type for today. Now, this lesson is the 6th lesson in the series called Types of Sentences. It is the 4th and final part on complex sentences. Make sure you have your guided notes for complex sentences that's titled noun, adjective, and adverb clauses. Make sure you have that before starting this video. Let's go ahead and wrap up this series on complex sentences. So as we continue to unpack complex sentences, there are some terms that we need to understand and review. I'm sure you remember the 4 lessons that we've had on complex sentences. In the first lesson, we explained in detail about subordinating conjunctions. In the second lesson, I helped you understand the punctuation rules of those subordinating conjunctions. The third lesson taught you about relative pronouns and how they play a part in complex sentences. This last and final lesson on complex sentences will help you understand the 3 types of clauses. We'll look at each of these types: a noun clause, an adjective clause, and an adverb clause individually. We'll have some practice with them, and then we'll look at all 3 types of clauses together. Let's look at noun clauses first. So a noun clause functions like a noun, and it's often the subject of the sentence. A noun clause also functions as a direct object, an indirect object, or an appositive. Sometimes it also can be the object of the preposition. Let's look at some example noun clauses. So we have cheese pizza sounds good. That has a noun, cheese pizza, and a subject. But if we add whatever you want to order sounds good to me, we're adding a noun clause as the subject. On your screen, you see 5 sentences. I want you to underline the noun clause in each of the sentences. Pause your video while you identify the clause, then turn the video back on and I'll go over the answers with you. Pause your video now. So class, let's see how you did. As you can see, I have underlined all of the noun clauses in each one of the sentences. I also identified what that noun clause is doing in the sentence. Take a look at the answers that you see on your screen and check them with what you have done on your own. So now that we briefly went over noun clauses, let's practice identifying adjective clauses. Now, adjective clauses function a bit differently. They, of course, function as adjectives, and these clauses describe nouns and pronouns. For example, the angry snake hissed. Angry is the adjective, and it is describing the noun snake. Let's look at the next sentence. The snake that was angry hissed at me. Now we are using that clause as an adjective clause. On your screen, again, you see 5 sentences. Now I want you to underline the adjective clause in each of the sentences. Then decide if it needs punctuation. Then draw a line from the clause to the noun or the pronoun that it describes. There are 3 steps in this activity. Pause your video while you complete the activity, then turn the video back on and I'll go over the answers with you. Go ahead and pause your video now. So class, let's see how you did. On your screen, you see the answers. You see that I have underlined the adjective clauses in each sentence. I have put punctuation in if it's needed. And I have drawn a line from the clause to the noun that it describes. Check your answers with the answers you see on the screen. So now that we've looked at noun and adjective clauses, let's look at the third type of clause, which is an adverb clause. Now, an adverb clause functions as an adverb. It describes adjectives, verbs, and other adverbs. Let's look at the example. She will go to the movies now. The word now is an adverb. It tells us when will she go. Look at the next sentence. She will go to the movies after she finishes lunch. Now it's a clause as an adverb clause. Again, you're going to see 5 sentences, and I want you to underline the adverb clause in each of the sentences. Then draw a line from the clause to the word that it's describing. Pause your video while you identify the clause, and then turn the video back on, and I'll go over the answers with you. Go ahead and pause your video now. So class, let's see how we did. Again, on your screen, you see the answers. You see that I have underlined the clauses and I have drawn a line from the adverb to what it modifies. Take a look at the answers you see on your screen and look at your own paper and see how you did. So now that we've had practice identifying these 3 types of clauses independently, let's try and look at them all together. So now on your screen, you should see 5 sentences. This time, I have underlined the clauses in each of the sentences. I want you to look at that underlined clause and then identify if it's an adjective, adverb, or noun clause. Pause your video while you identify what type of clause it is, and then turn the video back on and I'll go over the answers. Go ahead and pause your video now. So class, how'd you do? If you look on the screen, you'll see that I have identified what each underlined clause is. Number 1 says, our dog eats whatever table scraps he can find. That is a noun clause being used as the direct object. Look at number 2. I will give you what you said some consideration. That is a noun clause used as an indirect object. Let's look at number 3. Freddie ran as if his life depended on it. That is an adverb clause answering how he will run. Number 4, students who work hard earn good grades. That is an adjective clause describing students. And then the last one, that you plagiarized your essay disappoints me. That is a noun clause being used as a subject. I realize that was a lot of information in this video. Learning a new language takes time and lots of practice. It can even be more difficult when you can't be in a classroom face-to-face with the teacher. Although there's nothing more that I would like than to be able to be in that classroom face-to-face with you, there is an advantage to having these lessons in a video format. You can always pause the video, write notes and questions, and even repeat instructions that you might need to hear again. Also, don't forget that each of these videos in this series have a guided notes page for you to use. As you watch the video, fill out these guided notes. There's also many activities for you to practice what you have learned. These activities are either in your workbook on the live worksheets, or if you're not in my class, you can find links to these activities in the comments section below. So for now, this concludes today's lesson. But before you go, I'd like to ask you to do a few things. If you enjoyed this video, please show me by hitting the like button here. You can also subscribe to my channel, which will notify every time a new video gets posted. If you have friends or family or other people who you think might enjoy this video, why don't you share it with them? And of course, if you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear from you. Write a couple examples of some of the sentence types you've learned today. And lastly, please know what a blessing it is for me to share my passion with you. Thank you for allowing me to come on this journey with you to learn English. Goodbye for now. I'll see you very soon.